So welcome back, guys, for another stream of Age of Empires 3. This is a bonus stream for you from the EPL Season 2. This is a friendly match between the QSA Management Company from Riotcoke and the Wookl representing Management Dutch Squad. These two players are the substitutes. They're not taking part in the final week in terms of competitive play, but have agreed to have a little bit of a fun show match for you for some extra content in this final day of Age of Empires. And we've got a big day stacked up after this play or best of 7 series, or play until we've had enough series. We'll be then hopping into the 3 big series, play all 7s throughout the day, so easily 10 to 12 hours of Age of Empires 3 action for you guys today. First matchup, Riotcoke versus Wookl, Dutch versus Ottoman, and I am joined here to help me through this first period of the day on the co-casting mic by Malachite. So Malo, how you doing?
I'm good, man. It's finally good to finally be able to cast.
Yeah, you're getting your way. You're still finding your feet in the world of Age of Empires, and you've certainly been enjoying it and getting stuck into the action more than other people. Out on the map, though, let's see what we've actually found. Wookl, 40 wood. Freitag was so close to picking up these 2 goats in the middle, but it's going to go for some scouting action. Riotcoke, though, early on, goat advantage, 4-1, and out on the map getting some decent treasures, 50 XP in the centre as well, and 30 coin at home. Two explorers down to the southern side, engaging each other, but yeah, it's not too big of a deal. I suppose Riotcoke, if he had his macaque and envoy nearby, could team up on Wookl's explorer. Wookl playing the Ottoman. They like to get their trading post down. Could go for a second trading post in transition, but has already got his trading post safely built at home with a house and a mosque as well. That did indicate a wood crate start for both players. I'm sure it was an extra food crate or not, but Riotcoke, 1 house down, quarter wood left untouched. He just needs to get that food up to get that earlier age up. And from what you see in the streams, Malachite, what do you think of this kind of matchup, and what are you expecting?
Well, should I just follow the bandwagon here and say that the Ottoman will probably win? Or
well, to be honest, that's apart from the B winner series mini malt. Yeah, that's about right. It feels to be a very tough matchup for Dutch, and we'll see multiple actions of why it's tough. But I feel that Dutch, they need to play reactively to what Ottoman do, and essentially you need to scout what's first going on. Wookl, though, being sneaky, jumping in for a 75 food steal, pardon me. So that's going to help him click up. Well, I think he had 800 food just before that happened. So clicking up at a decent time. He's aging up with the governor. That is the outpost and the 200 coin. That does indicate that Wookl may want to be sending the 700 coin first card and going for a fast fortress agenda. Right, go back in base, now aging up. With the quartermaster, as be expected, does send 9 villas onto wood, 1 villager gathering up that quarter wood, so having an equal spread between food and wood gathering in transition. Wants him to get the resources to throw down a bank early age. During that transition, that'll give Riot that XP bonus. He really needs to send his shipment on time, gets Eco going, but I'm actually interested to see what Riot's plan here, because at the lower level, you're always tempted to play a more of a eco-style, greedy. Not often you get punished as often, but versus an Ottoman player, I feel that you have to do something in the second age, either military to defend what Ottoman wants to do or disrupt his plans, or go for a fast age up yourself. So I want to see what Riotcoke's card order is and what he's got planned in the second age. We did see the last series, B winner, Minimalt sending 700 wood first card, and then 8 pikes out to disrupt his opponent's outpost and barracks. But Wookl, who'll be aging up, we need to see where he'll be placing his outpost, because he has aged up with the governor age up.
yeah, it looks like his outpost is going forward. Putting it right in the middle of the map, right there.
Yeah, we can see where his waypoint marker is. A little bit awkward, though. He will need to move it, because at the moment he's guarding the coin mine very nicely, but he's basically blocked off by this big body of water, so he's either going to stay on the right side near this shallow bits of water from the swamp, and that's exactly what he's doing. And what an aggressive outpost from Wookl this is. A bit away from the trading post, could get the same results if he had placed it, let's say, here, so he could guard a second TP if he likes. It's hard to wall up here because of the trading post line, and could put pressure on the third trading post, but deciding to go right, and if Wookl was feeling really sneaky, he could have gone for some side shenanigans over in the far corner of each side of the map, but I think this outpost is in a place where it should be scouted, but Riot's Explorer not moving. Envoy is currently in Wookl's base, does see the coin, and doesn't see too much else happening. Riot must know that something aggressive is coming from Wookl, and the fast fortress is about to be clicked up. Ottoman Explorer sieging the bank. Won't get too much down. However, Riot's bank position, I can't be too critical. This is just a fun game at the lower ladder, and I've learnt this the hard way. Dropping 2 banks so far forward in your town centre versus Ottomans, who are likely to send cannons as one of their first or second shipment in the Third Age, is very, very risky. There's just... It feels like the Dutch player will then have to push out of his base onto the Ottoman army to protect his banks from going down, and with Skirm Reuter, it's quite a difficult versus Janissary cannon. So the bank placement, I'm not the most fond of here. Stable coming down, bank wagon. I don't think this is going to be fast enough from Riot, especially with the stable coming down. Hopefully, Riot won't be training Hussars, because I don't think these Hussars will be very useful in this matchup. Wookl, on the other hand, 700 wood, second card in the Colonial Age. Barracks coming down. Build it with 3 vills though, wanting to get units out pretty quickly, and will soon be in the next age.
Yeah, I was just noticing that barracks too. Just reminds me of how I play the game. Very badly though.
Yeah, you are a bit of an Ottoman fanboy, aren't you? This is your bread and butter.
I am a little bit of
Civ.
an Ottoman fanboy. Yeah.
I actually like Ottomans. I actually also like playing against the Ottomans. It feels like it's a fair challenge up against a Civ like this. There are some Civs I do not like playing against just because I just don't like this, how they are made, but that's not either of these two. Dutch is my favourite Civ. Your favourite Civ is the Ottomans, so maybe,
Not anymore.
Maybe we'll pick sides. Oh no, what's happened?
Been playing a lot of Russia lately.
Going from one Rush Civ on the RE patch to another. Classic.
Yeah, you got the military coming in now.
Riotcoke, hunting dogs, no great coats just yet, but Wookl is going straight for the stable. Riotcoke's only just clicked up, and there's 5 Jans, 4 Hussars in his base, and these Hussars will be enough to idle the entire Dutch villager eco at the moment. Riotcoke did send 700 coin, but with about 200 on the floor behind this, yeah, he hasn't got that full use of the coin. Sides stable coming up. Riot desperately wants those Reuters coming out, but a single stable pumping out Reuters, it's be very hard to deal with the Janissary mass.
Yeah, he just sent 5 more Janissaries. He's got 2 Falconets coming right behind him as well.
So if these Janissaries were right on top of these Falconets, they will be still will be sieging buildings, but they'll cover the Falconets. Janissaries, same range as Reuters, so if the Reuters want to get up close and deal with the Falconets, they will be taking volleys from the Janissaries. Wookl though, 2 Falconets first card. I'm waiting for him to send 8 Janissaries to follow up, because at the moment it feels he's somewhat weak here, but he's actually punishing Riot's slower age up with the dominant military, and 28 military population to 0. This is...
There you go, there's the 8 Janissaries.
8 Janissaries coming in. Hopefully veteran Janissaries will soon follow for Wookl, but doesn't look like he's got the wood for that, and is not actually gathering the wood. Riotcoke, 9 Reuters first, and try and mass a bit of Reuters. He's going in for the Reuter flank, and Wookl, he's circle sieging the TC. He's not actually protecting his Falconets, and this is a blunder. TC goes down, villagers taking fire, no great coats, going down very, very quickly. Does lose the Falconets though, and then presses Control or Delete. Oh, rest in peace, and Wookl, very quick 1-0 there, and at the lower level, this matchup feels damn tough. He's asking me for the advice. Just hold up. Yes, no. So a few things there. Wookl went for just a standard Ottoman fast fortress. Things Wookl could improve on here. He did only have one trading post up. We did see when Wookl clicked the age up to the third age, he had about 1,400 food in the bank and 1,000 coin, and so he had room in his economy to chop wood and possibly go for a second trading post in transition to the second age and then get up to the third age, still at a reasonable time, but just have a much more larger momentum in the third age. That barracks, it felt like it came up late. He was only pushing in with, it felt like 4 Hus, 5 Jan, maybe a batch of 4 or 5 reinforcement Jans, and then the 2 Falconets. And there could be an opportunity for Dutch player to capitalise on the low amount of units out in the field. But Riotcoke going for the slower age up there, 700 wood, 1 bank, 700 coin, had lots of eco. But when you're versus I didn't have the recalc population. When you're under siege from 30 military population versus 0, all these extra resources, it's not going to help you out. Riot could have tried to get out a Black Rider shipment if you got so much coin, but I don't. He even has Black Riders in his deck. Like that choice. Maybe he was trying to send that, but the town centre got sieged down first, and that's the risk you run when you age up so slow. And then the fact that he lost that barracks, rebuilt a stable, only 5 Reuters out, and it was just his base was crushed before he even got anything out there. So both players, things to look at, things to improve on, and we'll move on to the next game, where maybe Wookl's power sieve of the Ottoman has now gone.
I was just looking at the military unit population graph. The red bar just completely eclipses the blue. Or purple, whatever it is.
Next game is Manchuria. And I believe it's actually the CMC to pick. No, you guys doing winner picks first. Yeah, no, this is just casual. I don't know what the rule set is. This isn't a play all 5, play all 7 series. Well, it might be play all 5. It might be a best of 7, best of 5. We'll see how it goes. Hoping to get it done before the start time of the next big game, which is, I think it's Optimus Prime versus King of Osmane I'm casting. I will will check that in this downtime. Yeah, Optimus Prime versus King of Osmane at 12 GMT, so an hour and a half away. The Castet Jerry Muno, 15 GMT, casted by Kaiser Klein, so an expert eye casting his boy and looking over the Castet, his performance there. And then Kaiser Klein will be playing later versus Maito in the final match of the tournament. The 2 Titans at it once again. Can Maito avenge his 4-1 defeats? And can he get a better result versus Kaiser Klein and bring the points home for the Mandarin Duck squad? That's 18 GMT and will be casted by Edie Holland. Oh, I'm in game. I completely wasn't realised I'd readied up.
It only just started, don't worry.
No, yeah, 6 seconds. I will just quickly take off my internet back onto OBS. That's cool. Right. Back into game number 2. German versus China. And the score currently is 1-0 to Wookl. We do see both players spawning. And what crate was it? It looks like it was just a single food crate. Only 1 wood for the German player. No coin as well. This isn't a start which is really helping the Germans here, but it's also really crippling the Chinese at the same time. If it was just a coin and food start, probably favours German more, but this start, both players not in a great position. Wookl throwing down an in-base village for his Yaks, but no early TP as a result. This map has quite a lot of Yaks on it, and it seems it's slightly interesting that Riotcoke is kind of scouting at the backside of his base. He does pick up a 40 wood treasure and does get some good scouting on some other lower treasures. 75 food can help a nice age up. Does see the 85 wood, and I think that's where Riotcoke is looking to end up at later points. Yak doing a bit of scouting, usually a really nice play. Okay, it's actually Riot who's just scouted this treasure for the first time. Wookl's already making his way up here, but we'll also pick up the yak for its worth, and Riot might want to delete it, and doesn't get it in time. So Wookl getting a good scouting, picking up an extra yak, and see where the rest of these yaks spawn. There's a double yak patch on the top side. Seems to be a low amount of yaks this map spawn. Oh, Riotcoke coming in for the yak still here in the central. Does see the train post as well. Also sees another 85 wood treasure. So Riot does have eyes on 2 big wood treasures. Will pick up 1 yak. And looks like he's going to go in for this treasure. He needs to try and pick up 1 wood treasure. Also, if he's paying attention, seeing in the fog of war that Wookl is taking this 85 wood treasure. So both explorers on the opposite side of the map, taking treasures. Riot though, is he was thinking about going for the treasure still there, but no, he's backed off and he's going to go for the tiger, and actually going to go and try and kite this tiger. Hopefully he can pick off both these units before Wookl returns. Right, trying his best to creep this treasure, getting the tiger down to half HP. Does have crackshot available, gonna go for that now. I think he tried to crackshot the other one earlier, but the tiger went out of range, and he's lost 220 HP. I'm not too sure if he lost HP before his treasure, but when you're taking a tiger, crackshot one, and then tank the other, you do commit about 200 HP there. So I think Riot may have messed up slightly and lost a lot of HP for that 85 wood. What were you saying beforehand?
I was just going to say, it's Riot's probably trying to pinch the yaks off the Chinese player because the yaks feed off the villagers, remember?
Yeah, no, absolutely correct there. Livestock pen and house hybrid from Wookl. Honestly, these are very similar to the manor houses from the Atlantean Civ on Age of Mythology. 20 population and can garrison in. On Age of Empires 3, also a home city spawn point and a livestock pen, so these villages are very, very strong. Wookl though, with his very strong meat explorer as well, gonna go for another big wood treasure here, stun one line, take down the other line here. Nearby the train post though, and we'll have enough wood for a trading post. I would be looking for Wookl to drop a trading post, but this wonder placement, I'm gonna say this, it feels like Wookl's actually gonna be playing colonial, because putting your wonder placement so far in front of your town centre, it feels very, very risky if you want to try and age behind this.
He also has 2 shipments available and he hasn't selected his deck yet.
Ah. Yeah, wow. That is something. I don't think Wookl would have forgot. He does have the village and the town centre down behind this, but sending a shipment on the edge up now, he's not going to be sending the 2 villager card, and he's not be chopping down extra villages for even more villagers. Looks like Wookl... I think Wookl's going to try and go down for another village somewhere, and that's what we see. We see a side village over here. He wasn't going for that train post and transition that would. Side village. I'm expecting 9 Chang pikemen first, followed by steps and Chu canoes, and Wookl is going on the offensive here. Scouted by Riotcoke. Here we go. Units in queue. Wookl has 4 villagers in queue for some reason. He does have all these yaks fastening up, and although they're not fastened just yet, could be a nice source of secondary income for his villagers, just to try and get that income right, so he can spend more villagers on wood. More villagers on wood means more resources available for units to be trained from the War Academy. But Wookl, first shipment, 7 step riders. Could have actually gone for the train post there, but looks like he wants to try and idle Riotcoke, and Riotcoke's in trouble here. He has not dropped down a military building, and all his villagers are currently built up at the moment. Riot is even calling Minutemen. Good play here. Good play. Step Riders are siege units and take bonus damage from Minutemen.
It's almost like a repeat of the last game.
Yeah.
Wookl's attacking Riot before he has a military.
Yeah, at the lower level, it's hard to defend rushes. Riotcoke, good response here. 8 pikes first, but Ulan's getting picked up by the Chang pikemen here. But there's no Chukanu from Wookl to try and kite off and try and trade versus these crossbows Minutemen. And with us Minutemen on the fields, these Step Riders are still vulnerable. So he does have 1 Old Hand army batch coming in. And I would imagine Wookl's going to be sending 8 Chukanus as 3rd card at this point. Right, does have a barracks in base. 2 crossbows being made. 4 yaks still fastening up, but with no livestock pen, these guys will be low food count for a while. And Riot does have food in his base, but his food's forward. He didn't. He tried to herd it in, but may have lost a bit of a time herding while he was under pressure. And now he's actually moved his yaks behind the town centre, probably trying to eat these guys up before he pushes out. 3 settler wagons coming in, good shipment, but he has lots of villagers now on the food when he actually needs a bit more wood income to pump out crossbows. And Wookl, 8 Shu canoes now on the field, is pushing in with the China 3 Age 2 shipments, military shipments push, which is quite a strong strategy here. And we see that he's up in military population, and Riot's running. He's running back, trying to tank with a settler wagon. May want to get great cuts from his market as well for that. Pikemen and Steprise snaring the remaining 4 Uhlans from the 2 Age 2 shipments so far. All those Minutemen have gone down from Riotcoke as well, so Wookl's been focusing down the Minutemen, and that gives the green light for the cavalry to push onto these crossbowmen. Riot's army has crumbled, and with no villagers gathering, this is looking very, very tough for Riot already, and Wookl is up to 2-0 after their second short game here. That's unfortunate. 2-0 from Wookl.
And still no greatcoats.
Well, I mean, I think Riot had no army as well. I think that's probably the biggest one. Like it did catch Riot out, and I would probably lose the exact same match from Riot's Coke's point of view. He did go 8 crossbows first, and that was a nice idea. So 8 crossbows, 2 Uhlans, and the Minutemen was enough to push back the Step Riders and the Chang Pikemen. Step Riders could really focus. There's a Minutemen could really focus those. Well, both the Pikemen and the Step Riders, but Step Riders specifically due to their multiplier and try to punish the fact that Wookl didn't go Chu Canoe as his second card there. But barracks did come up slightly late, could have thrown that barracks straight away, but just needed more villagers on the wood. If you're under pressure, there's no point saving the axe for Age 4 because you're never getting there. Just eat them straight away and get every bit of income you can get so you can push units out. Looking at the villager counts, we see Riotcoke having a alright villager count behind this, bit of idle time in second day, so got 2 villagers out, then kind of was idled. At that point, that was when the Step Riders and the Pikemen were pushing in. Maybe that Minutemen pop caused the German player to become housed at that point and unable to train more villagers afterwards. Military unit population, he does get out a decent number of crossbows, Minutemen, but felt vulnerable away from the cavalry. Those cavalry were pinned down by the Chang Pikemen Step Riders, and then Wookl came in just to mop up the remaining crossbows and clinched the game out at that point. Right, let's hop out into game number 3. So if you want to play China and get some quick wins, go up to the second stage without shipping any units, build up your wonder with maybe 4 or 5 villagers, drop a forward village and just send 3 unit shipments and type GG. Seems to be very strong.
Is he allowed to go Germany again?
I don't think we're really caring too much. And actually, even if we I think we're doing NWC rules this game, so yes. I'd rather see a German mirror because German mirrors are absolute fire. My favourite mirror going on, and makes any other mirror look pretty boring in comparison. A lot of people say that they do like their Japanese mirrors, but I remember I was showing Jailed through his first competitive British 1v1 mirror, and he was, let's say, less than impressed by the end of it. This game, yesterday's match, or the match on Friday with B-Win and Minimolt, action everywhere. Ulan's flying left, right, and centre. It was absolutely crazy. So, yeah, here we go for a German mirror on Iowa.
When are we going to see the auto mirror again?
Yeah, I don't think Riot actually plays Ottoman. He's a fan of playing
How can you not play Ottoman?
German and laming the Age 4 free mercenary strategy from Germany versus unsuspecting opponents on the RE patch, but competitive EP 1v1 may not have as much practice as Wookl has, and Wookl currently 2-0 up, has been looking strong so far this series and looking to continue the game. We do see one hunt from Wookl not spawning in the middle, but this is a casual game. Let's just play on. Well, it's actually all these hunts are super far away. I know it's the design of the map, but sometimes you can get extra hunts. Let's say your second and third hunts spawn in this area, so you know they're quite far. But hey, that leads to a more exciting German mirror, right?
Just looking at Riotcoke's coin mines both at the back of the base.
Yeah, that's nice. That is actually. That's a really good spot. Real defensive. Harder to raid, but I think within a German mirror, there's going to be a very lack of ranged infantry in the second age and early age 3. So the fact that those villagers on the forward coin mine or back doesn't actually matter too much. When you have a forward coin mine, you're more at risk from longbows, skirmishers, and those types of unit moving in, picking off a villager away from the town centre, and then retreating backwards. But we'll probably see a couple of Ulan raids going across the map. Not enough coin in here for Riot's favourite German mercenary strat, and I might want to check his deck to see if he's going to go for a mercenary play. But it looks like both players spawning with a coin crate. Both players going to go for that market in a house. Wookl already having hunting dogs down. Riotcoke's a little bit behind on this. Just got enough wood coin to buy. Looks like Wookl has bought wood before Riot, and Riot had 120. Riot coin blocking. Wookl coin blocking Riot at that point. That's gutting. Still need to build the house though. But Wookl getting there first for the early market trade, coming in clutch this game. A couple of villagers left hand side looking around, a bit of treasure contention. Looks like Wookl started 90 food, but did see Riot was nearby, so he's going to probably back off at this point. And I don't think you need to commit. I mean, obviously 3 wolves is very, very strong, but you're risking the treasure steal there. And actually, at this point, you don't need to. But Wookl has lost lots of HP on his explorer already. Riot is coming in for the snare, and unless Wookl runs to his town centre, this German explorer is basically toast, and the only way he can really revive is getting the Ulans out in the second age from your first age 2 shipment. So it will be a while for Wookl to get a train post, and may actually have to build a train post with a settler wagon in transition. See, Wookl was now returning home. He's realised he was losing that battle, couldn't win, but I felt that bit of indecisiveness there. What to do at that point is kind of even costing Wookl even more. He will now have an explorer dead outside his base, close to home, and far away from the trading posts. We'll get the HP up on age up, and maybe be in the line of sight of the town centre for a quick auto revive there. Villagers in town centre trying to get a bit of a snipe on Riot's explorer, but he's so high HP. No way that's going down. Right now, aging up, so is Wookl. Wookl's advancing up 1 vil earlier as well, so should actually get that Explorer up back on the field at a later point to try and contest this line. Riot needs to go for the trading line soon to make sure he gets that TP and vital experience, which is so important for Germany. Do you Are you expecting Uhlans here or Doppelsonders from either player? Maybe we might see some Outlaws. Riotcoke likes this, and he has got a mercenary deck here. He does have Palatine settlements. He has the Advanced Church and Advanced Arsenal grades. Mercenary combat in the Third Age. He does have Refrigeration instead of Hackapels, but no Age 4 Elmeti or Fusiliers, so looks like it'll be Age 3 mercenaries from Riotcoke, and that's a bit of a laugh. Unfortunately though for Riot, tin mines, 1,500 coin each, might not be enough coin for Riot to carry out his plan how he likes it to.
Yeah, I was just looking at that earlier. It's the same deck he played in the last game, and like he must be trying to go for like a regain his pride on it or something, because he's going for the mercenary build again.
Well,
if you look at Wookl's build, he's gone for a bit more of a standard build with the doppels.
yeah, he's going Doppelsonders, and Riot must know this because Wookl has not dropped a trading post in transition. This should be a red flag for Riotcoke, thinking, wait, you haven't got a trading post, but Germany need their trading post, surely. Wookl doesn't mind, he just spent that into barracks and just spent more time gaining, going for resources. Second rack's coming down, only one Doppel in queue, but enough resources for another two. And Riot needs that out. Riot's gone for a stable instead of a saloon, so I can't see what outlaws he has in the meantime, but stable is gone out of favour in a German mirror, and especially when there's Doppels in the field, Uhlans can get absolutely wrecked very, very quickly.
Ich bin verwundet und kann mich nicht bewegen.
Uhlans picking off Riotcoke's Explorer, moving in to try and trade off these two Uhlans, try and get that engagement going. He's pulling these back. Now the fight started, he's going to drag these Doppels in to try and come in at the last second. But Riotcoke trying to pull back on a 2v2 fight doesn't make sense at this point. You're just snared, you're losing more damage, and Riotcoke's lost two Uhlans there for free, basically. And a couple of these villagers are quite far out their base from the town centre. This could be a real tough cavalry raid. He's got no food underneath his town centre.
I was wondering what would happen when two XP donators collide.
A black hole happens and the game crashes.
Oh, okay. Seems like whoever gets the first hit wins.
Yeah, but look at Wookl here. He's just sat on the hunts. He knows he's in a great place. He's realised that Riotcoke has no food income apart from a one vil off the other side of the map, but he's really stuck at the moment. Uhlans coming out, chasing down two Uhlans, thinking, oh yes, I want to get a good trade here, but along come the three Doppelsonders, and Riot's having to run back, thinking, wait, do I send crossbows at this point, or do I try and sneak the age up? 700 wood comes in, barracks being thrown down very quickly. Looks like Riot realises he needs to stay in age 2, get some crossbows out just to defend his food, because his food is just wandering even further away from his town centre, and you know, look at Wookl, his hunts nicely kept underneath his town centre, nice and protected. Even houses on his left side of the coin mine. Tough for a German raid to come in, and we do see 4 Uhlans coming across. Another 2 Uhlans pathing by Wookl's base, and I think Wookl's seen this. It's just going to chase these guys down, and there's no reason to not chase these 2 Uhlans down.
Yeah, he's even pulling back his other 4.
Yeah, he's going to try and go for a 6 versus 4 Uhlans trade here, but actually Wookl's just pushing in now with here come the Doppelsonders, the march of the Landsknecht units moving in, and so many villagers out forward.
Oh.
All these villagers having to run back. Riot has no food income at this point. Does have 1 Uhlan in queue. Batch of 5 crossbows out, but really needs Minutemen and a batch of 8 being sent. This could be very tough for Wookl to defend, and especially with the Uhlans coming back to reinforce from Wookl.
These things have 60 siege each.
Yeah, but they're also slow and expensive as, so you can see this town centre is getting really good cost-efficient trades here. Crossbows are scaring these guys back, and even the 8 Expos and the Minutemen, but Wookl, he's one step ahead. He's getting out there when he can. Is Wookl, he's not aging. He's only got 2 Doppels in queue, and going mass Doppels now into this crossbow mass feels a little bit risky. He just doesn't have enough cavalry here to really back this up, and you know the play in this meta is Dopp Uhllan instead of double racks Doppelsonders. He's now being caught out by this massive units here. I think Wookl now needs to turn around with his Uhlans and try and push the Doppelsonders onto the Riotcoke's Uhlans, and you can see he just needs to keep pushing forwards. Wookl, he needs to keep pushing forwards and try and get this engagement, because otherwise you're going to bleed your Doppelsonder count. But great position here from Wookl. Why is he taking...
Oh,
bin verwundet und kann mich nicht bewegen.
What?
his
It wasn't
Ulans were
over.
just managing to stay away from those doppels. Don't know why he just deleted everything.
I mean, mine. I don't know if it's a mine or something else, but like I think if Riot had a bit more kite in there, he could pick off the doppelsunners one by one. But yes, no, I just realised what he meant. This mine here, the Ulans tried to path around and couldn't even then got stuck by the doppels. Doppels would have picked off maybe 4 or 5 Ulans at that point very quickly, and I suppose he didn't have anything. Riot didn't have anything then to deal with these Ulans because his own Ulans were body blocked by his own skirmishers and doppels to take down his Ulans, and the doppels were in close. And that's the power of Dopp Ulan, is that it's the Ulans to close in and snare your opponents and force the engagement, but it's the doppels to push in behind and actually slam home that victory. Wookl 3-0 up, and Riotcoke still yet to get on the board. Herding, bit of an issue here for Riotcoke. And on a map like Iowa, when you know the rest of your hunts are out in the middle, out in the open, getting that second hunt safely under your town centre is a priority, and must be a priority every single game of Age of Empires you play.
Yeah, I thought he was in a good position when he got both the crossbow and the Minutemen out at the same time. But that mine apparently messed with his pathing on the Ulans. Even though they were just managing to stay away from the doppels.
Yeah, I feel that the 2 barracks from Wookl was a bit... It's a nice idea, but unless you're going like Dopp Expo, which is quite awkward because you're then having to try and gather 3 resources at the same time, I think Wookl, it would have been better for Dopp Ulan, so 1 barracks, 1 stable, and then you can get continuous batches of 5 doppelsonners, and then add in a few Ulans here and there if you need to help out. He was at risk only pushing in with 6 Ulans or 5 Ulans for the crossbows, so about 13 bows and 6 minutes. I think that's enough there just to one-shot an Ulan and keep doing that multiple times. And when you have that, then you should be able to outrun a doppel. It's close. No, I think bows have 4.5 speed, but the Minutemen, I think they also have. I think they only have 4 speed there. So unless Riot broke away his crossbows from the Minutemen, or use Minutemen to tank, or Ulans to snare, and just try and hold back the doppelsonners, not every single Ulan, but maybe a couple at a time, could try to get out there with his crossbow mass, but yeah, no, I kind of understand why he resigned at that point. Let's move on to game number 4. At this rate, we could play all 7 before the next series starts. Oh, why am I Portuguese? Now I'll be Dutch. I was playing Portuguese in a fun community game hosted by Jailed. I believe the map it wasn't made by Dan Silver Vividly Playing, but it was a community map made by somebody from the Samurai Revolution thread, I think, or one of those type of guys. And it was, think Ceylon. You start on a small island, and it's a massive sea map, but just remove the massive middle islands in the middle of the map and just add lots of mini islands. Yes, I played a 3v3 on that, and it was interesting. So I had to lame the Portuguese water sieve there. I wouldn't recommend anybody play on a full heavy water map like that, but it was fun once in a while. We now have Indian coming out from Riotcoke, Wookl playing Spain, and I think Wookl is just going to be aggressive once again with the Spanish. He's been playing aggressive so far in the first 3 games. Who knows, maybe Wookl will turn a blind eye and go for some sort of Spanish eco, 5-vil, 4-vil, 700 wood. I don't know. I'm expecting a Tower FF standard play, and Indians will have to try and defend this push with the Falconets, Rodoleros. Could go and try and be aggressive himself. 12 early Sepoys could be enough to siege down a forward outpost from the Spanish player. We'll have to see what Riotcoke has got in store.
Do you really want to see an India 10-10 though?
Well, I do, but you won't see it this game due to the crate spawn. Coin crate on the floor, no extra wood crate, so coin and food Ideally, with a 10-10, you need a food and a wood start. So all your wood spent into villagers, and you're just gathering food that entire time, and you can get a really early age up with Indian, and then put the pressure on Spain. And if the Spanish player is doing Spanish FF, you need to remember their weakness is their second age. Like, okay, they will get to the third age most likely. You can't deny that. But if you can pick off a house, pick off their outpost, eyes with their villagers, they're just in a weaker position in the third age, and that could be enough time that you've bought yourself to kind of then remass at home and try and defend from there. But Wookl, that coin crate, he won't need to mine a single bit of coin in transition to the fortress age. Governor will be the 200 coin crates, and then send 700 coin afterwards. We see Wookl with his doggo, Margarita, looks like it's called. Is it Margarita? Yeah, Margarita is chasing down Surdas, the Indian explorer or monk. Monk has to run back, and these monks are very poor in combat on their own. Once they team up with their brother, not too bad though. Both explorers have splash damage, so they both kind of work together. And if they're taking on multiple targets, they kind of the effect of both of them fighting at once multiplies. But on their own, 250 HP, very low, 4-hand attack. Pretty pitiful. And versus an age 1 Spanish dog, these guys with 15-hand attack, they'll just rip these elephants to shreds. So any fans of elephants out there, you AZAC followers, close your eyes if a Spanish war dog gets on these Indian monks.
Just imagine that in real life. What would win in a fight? 2 elephants or a dog?
Well, I mean, if we go by that logic as well, then you could say what you could say what wins. 100, 200 Imperial Redcoats and the British player, or 1 fluffy unicorn, and then the unicorn will absolutely wipe the floor. So you can't go by Age of Empires 3 logic all the time. Wookl sitting by a white tiger treasure as well, and with a Spanish war dog should be enough damage to take these guys down. But these tigers are so strong. Looks like Wookl wants to crack shot 1 and go for the second, but actually it's going to be close. He has 300 HP, but you'll be surprised how much these white tigers do. And if he didn't have this dog here to help out, this could be suicide, but I think he should be enough to get this treasure quite safely.
Yeah, I learned the hard way in a game earlier today that the white tigers do more damage than you think.
Oh, they're very strong. They higher attack than normal tigers, and they still have a very high HP stat similar to the lions. So, lions, they trade HP for attack versus the tigers, and 1v1 combat versus the explorer basically do the same. White tigers, though, very strong. They may even have a slightly higher rate of fire. Don't quote me on that one, but you see he's already lost 150 HP just to that single engagement with the help of the dog. With no dog there, he might have lost 250, 270 HP, so very, very careful when you're taking those units on. But getting the snare off in this Indian Explorer, that's nice. Duba, the pet monkey, is out in the field though, and that should turn the fight into the Indian player's favour. Oh no. In-base Kali Martyr from Riot. I would kind of like to see the in-base aggro actually. 2 sepoys do help out, but you are defending versus a strong push from the Spanish player here, and Kali doesn't really help your defensive capabilities. I suppose it does help your transition in, Colonial AH, a bit of eco here and there, but I'm not too sure eco is what you need in this game. Wookl, he has been playing aggressive so far, and knowing him, could play aggressive again. Bering Strait is a map. Only 3 coin mines on your starting islands, and they're all located to the north or the southern sides of your town centre respectively, and the outpost on those resources is pretty strong.
This dog's absolutely tunneling down that Indian monk. He's just walked away from it now. He's looking for it again though.
Yeah, in Age 1 these guys only have 250 HP. When they get to the second age, they are stronger and have much more experience points, and even the Spanish War Dog does get stronger. At the moment, 18-hand attack. So Riotcoke is very wise to run away with his Explorer. But I think Wookl, I believe he scouted that Kali Martyr, unless he's been so unlucky perfectly running around this small building. But Wookl's trying his best to find this aggro. I think he's even moving Explorer to the north side to try and see if there's a side aggro, but no luck. Maybe going for a trading post after he has the required wooden coin. and get that down and just trying to help that change. Home outpost though. Could a revolt be on the cards here from Wookl? I'm not too sure. Don't think so.
I would love to see a revolt. I'm a big fan of the revolt.
I'll tell you what is funny in Wookl's deck. He's got 8 spies in the third age. Why do you have 8 spies in the third age versus India? Who knows? Maybe Riot's going for some sort of Jack Lance play. And looking at his deck, he doesn't have the mercenary training card in the second age. There's an interesting card in the fourth age though. Howdah Regiment. 1 Howdah and 1 Mansabdar Howdah. Maybe Riotcoke is going for a semi-fast fortress here and trying to math out elephants himself. I know he does like more quaint strategies like that. And Howdahs could be good versus Spain. Spain they don't have many skirmishers, mainly focusing on heavy infantry and cavalry, and that's what the Howdah do pretty decently versus. But I guess the kiting action from the Howdah may be a bit of a struggle to run away from army of angry Spanish rodoleros. Age up coming in, market being dropped at home on the 700 woods, in-base stable and house. I guess the stable here in this sense could be going just for more lance production, possibly a batch of 5 dragoons, but no forward barracks, no forward outpost. Outpost stayed at home. If he'd saw the Kani Martyr, then that outpost could have been very safely pushed forwards, but I think Wookl's just playing defensively. He's just going to play safe, and I suppose when you're already 3-1 up, 3-0 up, you don't have to be super aggressive in this matchup. And with that trading post, could have a good momentum here with shipments. Could send shipments like Spanish Gold in the third age, and then from Spanish Gold send shipments afterwards. Only has 1 shipment at the moment. 20 population currently in queue. I'm curious to see what. I don't think Wookl sends in the shipment at the moment. It'd be a bit weird to send another shipment like 600 wood or 700 food, but nah, he's just saving that shipment when he gets to the third age, and we'll have to see what he's going to send first in age 3. Somebody in the chat's going, why is Wookl's Spanish Explorer name spelled out in Chinese? And well, Wookl is Chinese himself and playing in a Chinese language game, so that's probably why. 4 Hussars though, catching these elephant explorers out in the open. Nice pickup here from Wookl. It's not game breaking, but these elephants is just another less units that the Indian player has to try and stomp your falconets to death. Picking up 1 explorer there, 45 XP. A second one getting picked off very, very quickly, low HP. Another 45 XP and kills those guys. Going for a raid now. He really needs to raid the Wonder though. Trying to slow the Wonder. Couple villagers on the far side really exposed, but nice defensive sentry call from Riot should ensure that this Wonder gets up, and Wookl was just going to retreat here. He doesn't need to engage. It would be nice though if he tries to pick up 1 villager at least, but these sentries are quite strong. 28 hand attack versus these colonial hussars, and now the Ottoman Gardener hussars out in the field. Time for Wookl to. Well, he's coming back in with a batch of lancers here. You never know. These lancers clean up the sentries very fast, and 8 versus 3. This could be a good engagement here. Going to try and pick off 1 or 2 villagers, and Riot sees this, and now he's running back with his villagers. Will lose 1. We'll lose 2 actually. I wasn't expecting that. Taj Mahal comes up. Coin crates. Ability to seize fire, but he won't be seized firing just yet. Lance engaging with age 3 Gardener Hussars. Not sure that's the best idea from Wookl. He's currently idling quite a bit, but sending Spanish Gold and 1k wood behind this, I feel he needs just to back off and mass behind this, and instead of just trading off your Lancers, which are particularly weak versus hand cavalry. Not sure about this trade, but I suppose he's just trying to pick off units while he can. Indian elephants are back up on the field. And now
does have 4 sepoys now attacking.
Yeah, no, really nice. So the Lancers could turn the sepoys, but he's lost 2 age 2 Hussars and 5 Lancers for 2 villagers, a bit of idle time, 3 Hussars. It was a good trade. He's got Spanish Gold and 1k wood behind this, but it feels like Wookl could be have a bit more maps behind this. But the reason we're not seeing any more units is because Wookl is going to the industrial age. He has he's just dropped a second town centre down here. So I thought Wookl was going for a fast industrial possible revolt at this point, but If you're going for a revolt, then you should have kept these hussars alive. Just the low HP doesn't matter. Keeping them alive does. And Unction behind this. Unction third card hype with no other military on the field. Not sure of this play, Wookl. Not sure of it.
Riot's coming in for an offensive play now too with his sepoys.
Yeah, so Riot's pushing in with about 15 sepoys in the third age. Like, this feels like this would have worked about 5 minutes ago, but it's coming 5 minutes later. Disciplined sepoys is coming in though, so it is, you know, it will do damage, and Wookl is aging up. Well, he has the ability to Minutemen behind this, and he does have one Lancer in queue. He could stop that Lancer for Minutemen as well, but his Explorer is on the other side, building the town centre, so no dogs nearby to help out, and dogs and Minutemen would be enough to defend, but Wookl go into the fourth age with a second town centre and Unction. This is greedy and risky, and could get punished. Villagers out in the open are going to get sandwiched by the sepoys, and I've been corrected. This is a villager sandwich with sepoys the bread. Wookl pushing in single Unction Hussar with 31 hand attack. It's so marginal, that attack boost. It's just not worth it, and it's not like he even has a church back at, like, he has one church but no Unction donkeys coming out because he doesn't have the resources. And yeah, the industrial age will kind of scare Riot and catch him off guard, but I think he's now in a decent position. Carney Martyr working, but not really covering too many resources here. Gold mines covered, a couple hunts nearby, but apart from that, it's the effectiveness of that Carney Martyr is limited and was mainly chosen for those age 2 crates.
Just reading the chat, seems to be a lot of people that think he's going to go revolt.
Well, I mean, if you're going age 4 as Spain, about 60% chance that you are going to revolt, but actually he's trained Lancers, he has donkeys, the revolt is not on the cards this time. Wookl's just trying to go for a massive, I don't know, heavy cannon, Lancer, Unction missionaries push here, and it could be very strong versus India, but the problem is he's only got factories in age 4, he hasn't got heavy cannons, and if he sent heavy cannons now, heavy cannons with these Lancers to snare could be strong. Cannons could even do the 2 Howders. Now there's 2 Howders here, he needs the Minutemen, he needs the Explorer and the dogs, but the Explorer's on the other side of the map.
He does have 6 healers though, so that says something.
These guys are better use of tanking. They're not actually technically cavalry units, so can tank Howder fire quite well. But veteran Lancers here, not great. Minutemen do come out, and here comes the 5 Lancers from age 3, remember, age 3 shipment here. But Howders continuing the siege, but getting trapped here between the disciplines with the Minutemen and Howders. This is a great positioning from Wookl. These Howders going down very, very quickly. These Ceasefire comes out, but Ceasefire does not stop town centre and outpost fire. That Howder goes down. That is unfortunate. And the sepoys
he
are
almost
running.
got that town centre.
But veteran Lancers, 26 hand attack, 3 multipliers, and Minutemen. These sepoys are actually risk being, maybe not cleaned up here, but a good trade here for Wookl possibly. He doesn't have Caballeros or Cav combat, but Riotcoke just needs to stand and fight, I think. Running away at this point is not great. These missionaries, though, should hang back. They're kind of blocking the Lancers. I suppose I could just run on top of the sepoys and try and absorb some damage as well, but decent trade from Wookl, surviving Riot's push, factory coming out in the back. Now looking to be somewhat of an alright position for Wookl. Nine Zambraks come out, colonial units, not upgraded just yet. Does he even have a stable? I'm not too sure Riot has a stable yet. Yes, okay, he's got 1 stable and 4 Howders at the moment, so the fact that he's going 4 Howders could have actually gone for elephant combat instead of the 9 Zams. These colonial units are very, very weak. Missionaries, not cavalry units, resist Zambarak fire or don't take the multiplier. Factory coming out on coin, but Wookl, he needs resources really behind us to mass. Not actually training any other units at this moment. Maybe Wookl needs a fort or something. He hasn't got a fort in deck. Could go Highlanders.
Maybe this is what those 8 spires were for.
Well, unfortunately, Spires
No.
don't do multipliers versus elephants. Industrial Revolution comes out. That's the second factory, and the second factory is coming out on the other side of the map. So this feels like a campaign level. Defend your 2 towns at different sides, but these Howders also strong siege units, 60 siege, enough to tear down Wookl's town centre. 2 factories are nice, but there's no units on the floor for Wookl. Is Wookl now trying to go for the revolt? It's possible. His options are very limited at the moment. Remember, he's an H4. He just needs 1,000 of each resource, so he's got just about enough coin. Needs 6 more. The wood is coming in.
Combat, just kidding.
Yeah, factory on the wood, getting the wood income there, and has all villagers off the food onto a bit of coin. He has all the resources now. He has no hussars to upgrade to Imperial, but 10 hussars should be enough. Outpost is here to spawn as well, so could catch the army. Has enough villagers nearby to catch as well. Will we see the villagers be brought in, or will Wookl go for the push? And the revolt has just happened in, and he's aged up with the 10 Imperial hussars down to the southern CC, pushing into Riotcoke's home base.
We don't see revolts often enough. Need to see them all the time.
They've come back in fashion, shall I say, but they are counterable. They're not unbeatable, and actually at this point, this game is really weak because you have 10 Imperial Hussars in the face of 6 Howders. These colonial militias will do very well versus these Howders, but the army needs to be together. It's disjointed, and if we look on the units lost so far, Wookl has lost 11 villagers so far, and that could mean another 10 militiamen at this point, or colonial militia, and these are the units he needs to deal with these very tanky Howders. And with elephant combat, 950 HP, probably a bit too strong here for the Imperial Hussars, but a couple of missionaries out as well, further buffing the missionaries' attack, and a big raid left side as well. Imperial Hussars onto these villagers. No Eastern Medicine here. These guys are going down very, very fast. Okay, militias have come down to the southern side. I'm hoping for another militia card coming up very, very soon. You can see he's returning, he's retreating, fighting retreats back to his colonial militia and town centre for another spawn point. A shipment is on the way from Wookl. Has to be to his forward town centre, you'd think. If he doesn't change his shipment point, it will come to his forward town centre, and more colonial militias is what he needs. I think he's just going to try and trade with colonial militia, but raid with his Insars, and he's going back for a second raid. The villagers are going back on the coin mine, but you have an army of 7 Imperial Hussars, and these are great raiders.
He is building a bit of a colonial militia mass down the south side.
Yeah, it's the army
and training a heavy cannon.
The army down under, and actually that's a super smart play from Wookl. I have to say, you don't need resources at this point because you have a stable. I guess you could try and switch around to get some units out, but actually that heavy cannon is what you want to deal with the redcoats and sepoys. And a big raid again, far away from the garrison point. No HP just yet. Riot's losing more villagers at this point, and okay, at the moment he's still far ahead in the eco. It doesn't matter too much, but you can't lose too many because Wookl's army is based on experience, and these guys are given 10 XP per kill, which if you're killing 10 villagers, that's 100 XP. That is not insignificant. Wookl's train post is still up, and he's just remassing the colonial militia under the cover of a heavy cannon, which is actually boosted by unction as well if he has enough donkeys nearby. Only 2 donkeys at the moment though, so that mass is going down, but colonial militia, multipliers versus Howders, very strong. Howders tank on.
He does have his 2 heroes still up here just sieging down a house.
Did you see how fast those Howders go down once those colonial militia actually get into combat with those elephants? It's not pretty. Okay, Wookl's explorers nearby the army, that's pretty decent. That heavy cannon went down to the Howders, but if he keeps training off the Howders for the heavy cannons, you can constantly remass these heavy cannons, and then the second one should be out in the field very soon. I'm struggling to see what units Riot has in queue. He's got 1 villager, I don't see another stable, and I don't see another Howder, so he's having to deal with what he's got, and a castle coming up for siege elephants at this point. But now the push is coming in. This is actually risky. Wookl's another shipment on the way. This is a spawn point. A heavy cannon nearly about to pop out as well. Surely Imperial Hussars coming for the snare. This actually looks to be a good engagement here from Wookl. And yes, heavy cannon being produced, unpacking out onto the red coats. Big volley coming off. 2 getting picked off there. And more colonial militia reinforcements. And Yumi have just come out. And okay, Wookl has just lost all of his Imperial cavalry. But apart from that, he's lost his infantry mass, and these colonial militia can focus these guys down one at a time. And heavy cannon here as well counter the Yumi very, very strongly. Come on, Wookl, you can do this. I believe in you, my boy. He didn't fire. Come on, fire. Oh, I dodged as well. That's awkward. Oh, he's focusing down the sea point with the heavy cannons. Come on, Wookl. This Yumi needs to go down. But it's more XP for the Spanish player, and that means another shipment soon. Halfway to it. Enough clone militias to really scare back the Howders. Those Zams are going down very, very quickly. And now it's just Howders versus clone militias, which they don't trade amazingly well. But they do outrange, and they do outspeed, so it's not looking too bad for right at the moment. And villagers are out in the field quite safely. No more cav nearby. It's close. I think Riot has the positional advantage at the moment. If you was playing this game, which position would you rather be in and why?
Me? Ugh.
Well, who else am I talking to?
I don't even know at this point. It's both sides seem to be just hanging in, really. I would rather be on the Indian team because at least they can still adapt and evolve, whereas Wookl's pretty much stuck with what he's got now with the town center and factory and the one trade route. He has to rely on his shipments to get the military and the factory to get his cannon. Outside of that, he's pretty much... I don't think he realizes that these houses don't matter anymore.
No, he does. He's just going for the XP. It looks like could go for the trading post as well. Going for the church will be tactical. He's not going for more missionaries at the moment yet, but Wookl does have a factory. He can change that to wood and coin income as well, just to try and help and get a couple of missionaries out. Missionaries still buff the clone militia very, very strongly, and the heavy cannons as well, which is quite funny. But Wookl's moving around to try and pick off more villagers. Many villagers here, and Riot needs to pull these villagers away at the moment. You cannot lose these villagers to a clone militia raid like this. That feels sloppy. It's actually running towards the army as well. 2 getting down there. Ceasefire coming in. But Riot wanting to wait for the ceasefire for a military push. He's now pushing in with Howders, but not getting that positional advantage that he wanted to.
Got 2 siege cannons now.
Yeah, heavy cannons unpacked. Okay, 2 siege elephants. Yeah, 2 siege elephants as well. Good. That's a good unit to deal with what's going on. But again, Colonial Militia actually countered the siege ellies. It feels strange, but Wookl has a decent position here. Colonial Militia one shot the Howder there. He's still focusing down the buildings with the heavy cannon. Not what you necessarily want. But at the moment, Howders have gone down. Siege elephants are now, well, they've done their job. But, okay, there's 1 heavy cannon still remaining, but they don't do anything with the military mass here, and Wookl's just picking up even more villager kills.
Not sure what that villager was doing. He's sending most of his villagers way up north here.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably the safest place for them to be there, on the opposite map to where the colonial militia spawn at this point. I think Riotcoke really needs to make a few Gurkha at this point, and Howders, going more sepoys. It just feels like they're very similar to colonial militias, but they don't trade amazingly well, and with heavy cannons behind backing them up, it's just not... It's not what you need. He's now pulling that siege elephants forward and should be able to pick off the heavy cannons with another volley, and does so, and needs to get out of there before another heavy cannon spawns. Heavy cannon.
There is another heavy cannon.
Yep, heavy cannons on the field. Right, pushing in though, but in the face of a heavy cannon, we'll get a big volley off and 5 go down there. And this game still goes on at the moment, and Wookl has the military population. Siege elephants don't do too much versus these colonial militia, and that heavy cannon got a good volley on the sepoys, can come back for a second volley, and then this infantry mass again is looking very small for Riot, and the siege elephants won't deal with the colonial militias. Engagement happening, target acquired by the heavy cannon, and picks off another 3 units, and big splash damage. Elephants moving forwards though. Looks like one siege elephant could go down, and really needs to focus that one elephant as a priority, and picks it off.
$16 more militia coming in too.
And look at this, Wookl nearly has another shipment all ready to go, so another 16 will soon hit the field, and he's just sent it, and this is... Well, I haven't seen his population increase yet. Maybe that's not how these cards work, but I'm hoping he hasn't sent a fort or something, because that would be a massive mistake at this point, him sending a fort. Maybe Gatling guns could be quite nice, but you still have one siege elephant to deal with, and you can produce more Howders, siege ellies, so I'm guessing more colonial militia is what you need, especially when you've got one heavy cannon out in the field already.
But infinite forts, why not?
Well, but you can't place it due to the town centre build radius, and elsewhere you're placing it in a very random spot and it just wouldn't work. And then you'll slightly lose your colonial militia mass, and the fact that he's got his mass going is actually keeping Wookl in the game. If he can grow his mass even more with the fact that sending militias, it's just so strong, and another heavy cannon as well. And Riot's going to need more Howders or more siege elephants. He just one siege elephant here is not enough anymore. He needs another.
Yeah, I am wondering why he's still training sepoys and not swapping over to Gurkhas or
maybe he's
Howders.
Maybe he's watched too many Sompu Konku games, but there's no villagers to raid with his sepoys. The only thing these sepoys can do really is engage with the colonial militia, but they are heavy infantry, and that's what Gurkhas would do very well, especially with the extra range that Gurkhas have. Could be very strong in this specific point, and if the colonial militia march too far from the heavy cannons to chase down the Gurkhas, that's where the Howders come in to pick off the heavy cannons. But heavy cannon raids here, unpacking. Another blank shot coming out, but a big volley there, and 7 going down. And I think Wookl's done it. Like, what is Riotcoke's follow-up? He's trying to make Howders. He's got 3 in queue, but when you have no sepoys, the 3 Howders versus an army of colonial militias is just not effective at this point, and it's not what you need. And actually, Riotcoke, if he's being very sneaky, could actually move in and steal the coin underneath the town centre. That would be very risky, but that would be a strong play. I'll tell you what, another play Riot could do. Riot is playing as the Indian Civilization. He's on the British Consulate. He has some export available. I need to check if he's researching it right now. He could research British petards and siege down the town centre and or the factory with no town centre, no spawn point, no more clone militias, and surely you win the game at that point. But Wookl on the offensive with his clone militia, picking off so many of these villagers. These colonial militia running much faster than the villagers. Most of these villagers are dead, and trying to run through Wookl's base will get the line of sight on these villagers, and Wookl's in a good position. Riotcoke, only way to win this now is the British petards, I feel, but he needs to gather with his villagers to get the export to send the petards. And at the moment, when he's losing the villagers, he's not getting the export, and come on, Wookl, get the villagers. Forget the heavy cannon. This is the game right here. Pick off these remaining villagers, and you'll be just less eco for Riots to mass up behind with. And you've still got 2 heavy cannons alive. That's okay. Oh, that's a long-range shot. That's a snipe and a half from those heavy cannons. Okay, 5 Howders out in the field, but in the face of all these colonial militias, Howders deal great versus the heavy cannons. That is true. But versus the militias, they're just not. There's just too many here for these guys to deal with at the moment. Could try and wait for another batch of 5 Howders, if that's possible. But he has lost so many villagers, and Wookl is moving for the 2 heavy cannon villager raid and sending the colonial militias forward.
He's brought in yet another 16 colonial militias too.
Yeah, like we discussed, you can't go for the forts here due to the town centre still being up from Riotcoke. You can't go for Gatling guns, low HP siege units, strong versus infantry, but when you've already got heavy cannons, you don't need more siege, and the Howders and siege elephants counter the Gatling guns so hard, so that is why more colonial militias is what you need, and it's the correct play for Wookl.
I more meant that, like, just when he's starting to train his Howders, he's starting to, like, make that tiny bit of a comeback, just 16 more colonial militia just come and reinforce this.
Losing his entire sepoy mass, and the Howders move in, but they don't pick off the heavy cannon. One's still at 15 HP. He's trying to pick off the detachment How, which is quite nice. No more ceasefire availability for Riotcoke, but I don't think of a point where Riotcoke really will make use of this ceasefire without units like Mahouts and or siege elephants, just to try and get on top of that heavy cannons. But no, Taj Mahal coming down. Ceasefire coming in, but.
Oh.
He's ceasefiring for ceasefiring sakes, really. A third heavy cannon here, and he's just sat underneath his base. To be honest, the town centre,
He's got idle vills.
It's not really doing
everywhere.
much. Well, yeah, he's trying to focus down the Howders, and when you only have 13 villagers behind us, I think. Economic units for Riotcoke. Okay, it's 25. He's still making units, it looks like, but. Okay, he's just picked off the low HP heavy cannon, but still another 2 more. Wookl is just basing his Howders in, and he's just gonna try and entice them close enough, but the heavy cannons are just sieging behind this. Town centre going down, no way for Riotcoke to get to the next stage without another town centre, but Wookl needs to push the eco, that is the problem. And another batch of 2 Howders join the field, but even that volley picks off about half a Howder worth of HP. Oh, Sepoy's coming out from a 5 Sepoy shipment from Age 2. That could be clutch. And Wookl's undecided which way he wants to fight, but looks like he does pick off the Sepoys with his other heavy cannon. Villager, though, still alive. This heavy cannon's going down, you know. That's... Oh, no, Villager's still in ranged attack. Rest in peace, Phil. You tried your best.
I want to see Riotcoke win this
okay,
one.
that's a split up from right there. He's in the range of all the colonial militias, and 2 Howders going down for free. The heavy cannons are still in base sieging, but they need to really be brought along. Could go for the houses, but Riot's low on population anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And just the heavy cannon's actually kind of useless at this point. It feels weird saying that, but it's not. Unless he's sieging loads of houses, Carney's doing nothing. Castle, but another villager claim militias, and just pick off the villagers. That way the castle can't come up. He's actually microing down as well, and the GG's coming. Wookls! GG comes out from Riotcoke, and Wookls